Last week we did a video discussing the latest rumors surrounding the Zelda Oracle games and how we could possibly see them get remade in the Link's Awakening style from 2019. There was a major detail that we overlooked though, so major that we had to give it its own video. This detail being the confirmed story that there was actually a third Zelda Oracle game in the works. Could this be the Oracle game that actually releases for the Switch? Let's not waste any more time and jump into it, but make sure you guys like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks guys, and let's go. It was reported back in 2013 when Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages got release dates for the Nintendo 3DS eShop that the mystery third Oracle game was actually supposed to release with the two others. It was known beforehand that there was originally a third game planned, but more of the details came to the surface around this time. Originally, the games were meant to be a trilogy of sorts. Although releasing all at once, each was to have its own separate story focusing on one piece of the Triforce, with each story connecting towards the end of each game. Originally, they were to have titles alluding to their respective Triforce piece, one of the games focusing on power, one on wisdom, and the third on courage. The first game was to be titled The Mystical Seed of Power, and was to focus on the fighting aspect of the Zelda games. This later became Oracle of Seasons. The second game was to be titled The Mystical Seed of Wisdom, and was to focus on the puzzle aspects of the Zelda games. This was later changed and released as Oracle of Ages. The last game was titled The Mystical Seed of Courage, but the type of gameplay was never revealed to the public, and this game was the one that was scrapped. Each game also had an oracle named after the goddess of Hyrule. Of course, these names were Nehru, Din, and Feor. The three oracles were to be the focus of their respective game, with your journey as Link ending with receiving a piece of the Triforce from one of the oracles. It's truly a shame that development was never finished for the original games, and it was reported that the Game Boy's capabilities were too limited for the developers at Nintendo to fully carry out their vision of these three games, so they cut back two of them, scrapped the third, and changed the stories to the ones that we know today. There's now a possibility more than ever that the third Oracle game could make a return, and that it could potentially be the next remade 2D Zelda Switch game. With a lot of buzz now surrounding the potential Game Boy and Game Boy Color games coming to Switch Online, it would make perfect sense for Nintendo to advertise the Oracle games as releasing for Switch Online and then announce that the third Oracle game is coming out as well. If Game Boy games do come to Switch Online, it's almost a guarantee that the Oracle games will come along with it, and instead of being remade, they could possibly finish this third game and release that instead. I think the likelihood of this happening is fairly slim, but it's worth noting that it's definitely a possibility, and with so many new Zelda players because of the Switch and Breath of the Wild, it would be amazing if they were to complete and finish the story they originally set out to tell in the year 2000. Thanks guys for joining us for today's video. We know it's a bit of a stretch to hope the third Oracle game gets made for Switch, but it has such an interesting backstory it's hard not to think of it finally being finished. What do you think of all this? Do you think we could see the third Oracle game come back and be shown to the world? Let us know your thoughts below. Thanks again for watching guys, be sure to subscribe and share with friends, and we'll see you all in the next one.